but hi everyone, I'm Monica DePaul. So, in 2016, I did make some local history as the first transgender delegate to the Democratic National Convention from Florida. Yes, I was with Bernie Sanders, but as said in the video, it's not about Bernie or Hillary. Anywho, so I'm an educator by trade. I taught for over 5 years at the University of North Florida, teaching freshman level English. Currently, I am a online writing tutor and a high school instructor in DePaul County. Substitute, unfortunately, but there's a whole story behind that. I'm not getting into that. So when I was a professor, I met students who never learned to think critically before college because they were so used to bubbling in a test form. They always had to give out one correct answer every time. So it was up to me to teach them how to think for themselves in the real world. Yeah, I made about $15,000 a year doing it as an adjunct professor. No benefits, no job security, no health care, and my students paid the same price. They were still going into debt for the rest of their lives. Well, the administrators of the college, who mostly came from business backgrounds, not education, were making 6 figures each. So, this is that Republican dream, spreading ignorance, devaluing expertise, and funneling everyone else's money into an elite ruling class. Now, St. Johns County, right here, has the best school system in the entire state of Florida. I mean, I work with DePaul, but frankly, yeah, I've seen the results. Yeah, St. John's is the best one. But it's still being held back by these standardized testing corporations and the GOP voucher agenda. Let's take all the students, give them vouchers to put them in private schools, and then just wash our hands of them. By the way, private schools don't face any, why does this word always leave me? Accountability, there we go. They face no accountability. I think the fact that I keep, stopping on that word, I think that really says, yeah, they really have no accountability, doesn't it? It's time to invest in our students. We need to provide the resources teachers and professors need to teach real-world skills that lead to a future of gainful employment and civic engagement. Students need to know how to interact with their local, state, and federal governments. Decades ago, it was possible to afford college on a part-time job. Those days can and must return because it doesn't matter. Teachers, professors, welders, mechanics, writers, graphic designers, bankers, salesmen, waitresses, and yes, even those burger flippers. No one who is working 40 hours a week should be living in poverty. Period. That's why we need a living wage for everyone and fair pay standards for everybody. It's time to end this race to the bottom. It's also unethical to pay women less than men for the same work, or anyone else less than men for the same work. It is terrible to pay black women less than white women for the same work. And if we want to get to work on time, we need investments in our infrastructure. We need roads, we need our bridges. We shouldn't be selling them for profit in Donald Trump's plan. Anyone who's driven through downtown Jacksonville at rush hour knows exactly what I'm talking about. It's a horror story every day, I tell you. Workers need to be healthy and not go bankrupt if they have a serious illness. Right? Now, since insurance companies and employers can't be trusted with that, we need a guaranteed, single-payer Medicare for all healthcare system. If Medicare works for the elderly, it can work for everyone. There's no reason why it shouldn't. And they may call it a tax increase, but it is so much less than paying for an insurance plan that may not even pay out when you need it. everyone should be able to retire with dignity. Essentially, Social Security pays for itself. It shouldn't be cut just to give billionaires tax breaks. My parents are receiving Social Security right now. They need it. So, and I'm sure many people in this room are in a similar boat to me or are receiving Social Security themselves. It's kind of essential here. You paid for it, you should get it. Instead of creating, okay, let's just be perfectly clear right here. Trickle-down economics, it's a lie. It is still taught in business colleges, but there is no truth behind it. If trickle-down economics worked, we would be rolling in jobs. There would be more jobs than people. Jobs would be everywhere. Jobs, 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 as they like to say. No, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. When corporations can get free taxpayer money for essentially doing nothing but lobbying, they're going to keep that money because they just got free taxpayer money for doing nothing but lobbying. Instead of creating jobs, they spend dark money, electing politicians for more tax breaks and fewer protections for everyone else. We have a breed of politician beholden solely to big money and no one else thanks to the disastrous Citizens United Supreme Court decision, which must be overturned. No exceptions. Instead of working for us, they distract us by blaming minorities. They say that Muslims can't enter the country, except for the ones in countries where Donald Trump has investments. They're okay. Even though Saudi Arabia, terrorists did come from Saudi Arabia, so yeah. But Trump has a hotel there, so no, they're fine. Of course. They tell us that Mexicans are somehow rushing over our border, all at the same time, just running through the countryside. Jumping over whatever fence that's there, and not, taking a boat or a plane over. Which is totally going to be stopped by a wall. I am being sarcastic, I hope you gathered that. No. A wall is not going to do anything to deter anyone from coming over here. And also, it's not really their fault. They're just trying to earn money for their families, and they see opportunities over here, especially when corporations bring them here, but then abuse them because if they complain, it's right back to Mexico, right? Yeah, no, if we want to fix the issue of illegal immigration, where we are punishing the wrong people here. We should be punishing the corporations who hire illegal, undocumented immigrants or illegal immigrants, and also give them no means of staying or even going back when their visa expires, because they tell us that black-on-black violence is the biggest issue in the inner city, and that this is just the way things are economically, and that racism doesn't exist because Obama was president, and now he was terrible, so whatever. Obama wasn't terrible. Anyway. But no. There is no reason that a white teenager with a small amount of marijuana gets a slap on the wrist, while a black teenager with the same amount of marijuana goes to prison with a mandatory minimum sentence for any reason other than just straight up racism. Let's just be honest here. I mean, yeah. Now, furthermore, let's remember slavery in the U.S. never actually ended, because the 13th Amendment says that those who are put in prison are still technically legally slaves. And so, wow, why send all our jobs to China when we just put a bunch of people in a for-profit prison and just have all our McDonald's uniforms made that way, right? Yeah, no, prisons should not be a pyramid scheme. Now, let's be honest, there are some people we should lock them up and throw away the key, especially those who commit treason. But our own citizens, for minor offenses, especially non-violent offenses, this is unacceptable. Absolutely. Is it more than China? Or is it slightly less than China? How many? I don't remember the exact statistic. We're just putting a ridiculous number of people in prison who don't need to be there. They also say that Transgender women like me are somehow dangerous to cisgender women, despite the fact that they are unwilling to allow any women to control their own bodies. Bodily autonomy is this pretty simple concept in philosophy. It doesn't really matter. But even then, we hear about tearing the fetus out of the womb, and the third trimester abortion is nearly, that's really not a thing. A third trimester abortion only occurs if it's medically necessary. Those are usually unwanted pregnancies. I mean, I can't believe that we have just the sheer amount of lies going around about this. Let's see here. But you know who is a criminal? Nicholas Cruz. That dangerous homosexual who shot up Parkland. Why was he allowed to buy an AR-15? Despite the fact that he had so many recorded instances of being questionably, him in particular, there's a lot of debate about mental health and guns, but him in particular, he did have some mental health issues, but they just went completely unrecognized despite the number of reports. Probably because he was white, or at least looked white. Right? But okay, no, there's nothing wrong with him. He could just go out and buy his AR-15 and then he shoots up a school. No, of course not. How about we stop coddling the NRA with thoughts and prayers and start doing some background checks and start determining, hey, you are not allowed to buy a tank and drive that around the road. Why should you be able to buy an AR-15? It is hard to stop one of those with anything but another AR-15, and even then they just cancel each other out and even more people die. Why do you think the police officer in the parking lot didn't go in? That good guy with a gun myth is a bunch of bull. Now, I'm not done with my main, as a certain student would like to say, I call BS. Anyway. I have a little challenge for you here. I'm putting together a video to spread this farther virally, but I'm gonna put a little challenge on my CrowdPack page. It is crowdpack.com/c/Monica DePaul for Congress. If we can get that to $8,000, okay, of campaign funds raised through there, I will spend my own money buying a handgun and I will use it to shoot an NRA logo on video. Just to make sure I can never get any money from the NRA. So yes, I am putting that challenge out there.
I'll be done.
Now, I'm not afraid of offending fossil fuel CEOs either. I taught research when I was teaching college. Now, I was teaching English, but I was still teaching research. And the consensus is in. 99% of scientists agree climate change is real. Period. There is no doubt here, because all the other studies are just funded by the industries, the fossil fuels, the Koch brothers. They just pay researchers to put that out. Climate change is real. It's time to make polluters pay for poisoning our land, air, and water, and not just passing the cost of their profits on to the rest of us when we get sick because of them. Let's keep Northeast Florida beautiful. This is a beautiful place. Let's be totally honest there. We do not want new drilling here, especially not on our beaches, considering the amount of revenue tourism generates especially. I want this area to be a bastion of clean energy research, particularly in solar and tidal, which is not mentioned very much, but there is potential of energy research there. Since that's a relatively new science. Anyway, let's be clear, this isn't about me, it's about you, and 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 you, everybody, right? Now, I can't even do this alone. I am gonna need your help. We got petitions over there. It's more likely that I'm gonna have to pay the $11,000 to get on the ballot at this rate though, so you should definitely give me all of your money. I was so delighted on Saturday when I said that, and then Nancy Soderbergh repeated it. I'm Monica DePaul, and I'm here to say that I'm listening and that you are not alone. Thank you. Did I have any time for questions, or did I go over time?
You're right on time.